day, let's take a look at your Schistosoma species. Okay, the earliest known case of schistosomiasis was actually found in Egyptian mummies. Okay, and so that is Egyptian mummies of the pre-dynastic period, probably 3100 BC. Okay, and so they utilized the enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay to detect the circulating anodic antigen of your cystosoma. Okay, also eggs were also detected in the kidneys of mummies. Okay, and so still from Egypt. Okay, yes, notable individuals in cystosoma discovery. You have Fuji in 1947 described schistosomiasis that is caused by Schistosoma japonicum, and Bill Hurst in 1951 noted Schistosoma hematobium infections in Cairo accordingly, while Sambon proposed the name Schistosoma mansoni. Okay, and so that is for your brief history of your cystosoma species. Let's take a look at your cystosomes or your cystosoma species or your blood flux. So, your cystosomes, the adult stages, are present in the blood vessels. And yes, please note that cystosomes are somewhat different from other human trematodes because, number one, they have two sexes. Okay, they have two sexes. You have a separate male and a female cystosome. And yes, with that, they have a separate male and female adults. They are the most romantic parasites accordingly. Okay, they are the most romantic parasites because your adult male, it has a gynecophoral canal where the female is held. Okay, and so somewhat inside or no, somewhat this adult male uh, cuddles somewhat your adult female cystosoma. Okay, and yes, they live in the blood vessels. They do not live in the tissues, and they have a non-operculated eggs. This one still for your cystosoma, and they have no insisted or they have no insisted metacercarial stage in the life cycle. Okay, the infective stage to humans or to the definitive host is the cercaria. And yes, human is the definitive host for Cystosoma mansoni, Cystosoma japonicum, and Cystosoma hematobium accordingly. And yes, for your other host of your Schistosoma species, you have your cattles, your dogs, your cats, rodents, uh, and others. Okay, and so they serve as a reservoir for your Japonicum and Schistosoma mansoni. Okay, as for diagnosis, demonstration of eggs and the feces, rectal or liver biopsies, and urine examination, uh, showing, of course, your ova or your egg. Others, you have your Faust and Melanie's egg hatching technique, and then circumoval precipitating technique of your Oliver and Gonzalez. Okay, and so yes, please note that for your Schistosoma species, uh, they are the most important digenetic trematode of men. Active stage of your Schistosoma species again is the Cercaria. Because again, there is no metacercaria for your blood flux. Okay, and so yes, as for what they call this, as for the pathology, schistosomiasis or bilharziasis, you have your vesicular schistosomiasis. Okay, and so that is by Schistosoma hematobium, Oriental schistosomiasis or Katayama disease by your Schistosoma japonicum, and then rectal or intestinal schistosomiasis by Schistosoma mansoni. Yeah, this one is an image showing you your adult in copula. Okay, and so of course the larger one here is the male. Okay, and so the larger one is the male. Okay, and yes, you have here the gynecophoral canal. In the gynecophoral canal, you have there your female accordingly. Okay, and so of course the larger one here is the male, and then the smaller or the more slender one is the female. Okay, of course you have here your acetabulum, your oral suckers and your ventral suckers. Okay, and so for the one, and then of course you have here your gynecophoral canal. Okay, and so for your adults in copula. Okay, so yes, this one is an illustration of the of the cercaria of your Schistosoma species. Please note that still it has a forked tail. The Schistosoma, I mean this cercaria is free swimming. It is swimming freely in water. Okay, and yes, it will invade the skin of it will penetrate the skin of the host. Okay, and so as for the males, the adult male and female live typically in pairs. Please note. And yes, the males are larger than females and they are grayish and they attach to the vessel walls by their suckers. Okay, the female is thread-like. As for the life cycle of your Schistosoma species, the adult male and female in copula are present in the portal veins. The female deposits eggs in the terminal branches or venules in the walls of the intestines. Okay, they somewhat deposit. The oviposition is 10 to 12 times per day. Oviposition is 10 to 12 times per day. Eggs are passed in the feces or urine. Eggs liberate miracidium in 10 to 12 days, and the miracidium will penetrate the snail host, and inside the snail host, uh, the miracidium will develop into primary sporocyst, then to secondary sporocyst to cercaria. Carya escapes into the water from the snail in 1 to 3 days, and then the cercaria will penetrate the skin of mammalian host. Please note that the cercaria consists of a body. It has a forked tail again, and the body has glands containing a proteolytic enzyme known as elastase. What will your elastase do? This proteolytic enzyme elastase is utilized to penetrate the skin. Okay, and yes, the bifurcated tail is lost upon the cercarial penetration of the skin. Once that the bifurcated tail or the tail is shed, the cercaria becomes a cystosomulae or cystosomula. Okay, and yes, again, the cercaria develops into cystosomula and then migrates in the portal veins and matures in 28 days. Okay, and so but then please note that after becoming cystosomula, after 48 hours of being a cystosomula, the cystosomulum or cystosomula will migrate through the tissues and then invades a blood vessel. And then inside the blood vessel, of course, this one is carried into the circulation to the lungs and then to the liver. The cystosomula again present in the blood vessel is carried into the circulation to the lungs and then to the liver. Okay? Yes. Okay, and so yes, and then of course they develop once in the liver, they develop and then they exit the liver via the portal vein system when they mature. Please note that the male and female adult worms copulate and reside in the mesenteric venules. Please note that the location or yes, the habitat differs or varies by species. Okay, your Cystosoma japonicum is more frequently found in the superior mesenteric veins, draining the small intestine, while your Cystosoma mansoni is more often in the inferior mesenteric veins, draining the large intestines. And yes, please note that Cystosoma japonicum and Cystosoma mansoni are uh, they are capable of occupying either location, and they are also capable of moving between sites. And your cystosoma hematobium most often inhabit the vesicular and pelvic venous plexus of the bladder. Okay, and so for these parasites cycle, the adult male and female cystosome or blood flukes reside in the venules in the walls of small intestines. And yes, they pass immature ova. The female lays an immature ova, and the ova will hatch, releasing the miracidium, and the miracidium will penetrate the snail. And then, after larval development, cercaria is released from the snail, and then the cercaria will penetrate the skin of the definitive host. And then, yes, the cycle continues. Another illustration of your blood trematodes or your blood flukes, the life cycle of your blood flukes. Humans, of course, the adult worms are present in the veins still. Okay, and so eggs in the feces or urine, and then hatch into the meracidium, and this meracidium again will penetrate the freshwater snail, or yes, the intermediate host, and then inside the snail host, developmental stages will take place, releasing the cercaria. And the cercaria will penetrate, of course, the skin of humans. And then inside the humans, it will mature into an adult worm. Okay, as for the pathology and symptoms again for your cystosoma hematobium, please note that symptoms of your schistosomiasis are not caused by the worms themselves, but by the body's reaction to the eggs. Okay, and please note that many infections are asymptomatic. Accordingly, many infections are asymptomatic, and yes, the severity of signs and symptoms also correlate with the worm burden. Okay, and so yes, a local hypersensitive reaction is is produced after skin penetration by the cercaria. Okay, and so yes, it appears small, itchy maculopapular lesions. Okay, and so for this one. Okay, and so after that, acute schistosomiasis or your acute schistosomiasis is otherwise known as Katayama fever. Okay, and so this is a systemic hypersensitivity reaction that may occur weeks after the initial infection. Okay, and so your Katayama fever is seen in Schistosoma mansoni and Schistosoma japonicum. And yes, in Katayama fever or acute schistosomiasis, it will manifestations or signs and symptoms include fever, yes, Katayama fever, cough, abdominal pain, diarrhea, hepatosplenomegaly, and eosinophilia. Again, so yes, for your schistosoma hematobium, you have vesical or urinary schistosomiasis. For schistosoma mansoni, you have your intestinal bilharziasis, and then schistosomal dysentery. And schistosoma japonicum, you have Katayama disease and visceral or oriental schistosomiasis. But then please note that Katayama disease is present in both Schistosoma mansoni and Schistosoma japonicum. At the stages of schistosomiasis. Cercarial dermatitis accordingly follows skin penetration by the cercaria. And this cercarial dermatitis, this reaction may be due partly to previous host sensitization. It is partly, okay, and so not in the whole course. Okay, and so yes, cercarial dermatitis may be due partly to previous host sensitization. Probably in case of host sensitization, the individual is previously infected with cystosoma, okay, or the individual is exposed to to the antigen present in the cercaria. Okay, after cercarial skin penetration, petechial hemorrhages with edema and pruritus may occur. Okay, and yes, with that, it will produce a maculopapular rash, which this maculopapular rash may become vesicular and may last for 36 hours or more. Okay, and yes, please note that cercarial dermatitis is common with Schistosoma mansoni infection. Okay, and so for this one. And yes, please note that this condition is also known as swimmer's itch. Okay, and so yes, developmental stage. This one, your developmental stage, of course, it will start from the penetration, the cercarial penetration of the skin to the arrival of mature worm in the venules of intestine or urinary bladder. Okay, and so pathologic changes may occur. You have mild cutaneous lesions at the penetration site of the cercaria. Again, that is for your cercarial dermatitis. And then tissue reactions to immature worms inside and outside the blood vessel. Okay, and yes, some associated toxic and allergic reactions. Okay, and so all of this will fall under the developmental stage of schistosomiasis. And then you have the acute stage. Okay, please note that in the acute stage, this one is characterized by active egg deposition and extrusion. So probably during this time, the eggs may appear in the stool or in the urine. Okay, and so yes, during the acute stage, there may be loss of weight, relapse of pain, daily fever, epigastric pain, and hepatomegaly. And yes, you have the chronic stage. You have stable egg output and tissue invasion by the migrating larva. Petechial hemorrhage is also seen. Small foci of eosinophilic and neutrophilic infiltration in the lungs with cough and hemoptysis. And yes, acute inflammation reactions in the liver with fever and urticaria. Okay, and so this all of this are seen during the chronic stage of schistosomiasis. As for the laboratory diagnosis, you have here your for your schistosoma hematobium, your eggs in the urine. Okay, and so please note that your schistosoma hematobium will cause or causes dysuria and hematuria. Okay, and so demonstration of eggs in the urine still. And then bladder biopsy for your Schistosoma japonicum and Schistosoma mansoni, still fecalysis or demonstration of eggs in the feces, and rectal biopsy accordingly. Other than that, you have circumoval precipitin test. By Oliver and Gonzalez. And then your antibody detection. Okay, antibody detection, you make use of your fast ELISA, which uses Schistosoma mansoni adult microsomal antigen. Okay, and so for your fast ELISA, again, it uses Schistosoma mansoni adult microsomal antigen. This fast ELISA here is 99% specificity to Schistosoma infection. Okay, and so yes, for Schistosoma mansoni, it has a 99% sensitivity. For Schistosoma hematobium, 95% sensitivity, and Schistosoma japonicum, less than 50% sensitivity accordingly. Okay, and so yes, schistosomiasis should be suspected accordingly in individuals who have significant contact with water in areas of endemic infection. And yes, your symptoms of acute schistosomiasis again will include fever, diarrhea, abdominal pain, weight loss, and eosinophilia. And yes, okay, and so these ones will support your laboratory diagnosis. Okay, and so for this one, the treatment of your schistosoma infection, you have praziquantel, oxamnikin, and niribazole, prevention and control. Okay, and so you control your snail, the intermediate host, and then sanitary disposal of human excreta, and treatment of the infected individual. Okay, and so especially, I mean, treatment of the infected individuals, chronic or asymptomatic individuals or those with low burden. Okay, and so they greatly contribute to the spread of the disease. Okay. Schistosoma japonicum. Please note that the common name of this one is your oriental blood flow. Okay, and so you have Fuji in 1847, okay, and so published the first clinical description of Schistosoma japonicum infection. And yes, Katsurada in 1904 described the ova and adult worms that he detected in dogs, cats, and humans. Okay, and name, of course, the parasite as Schistosoma japonicum. With that being said, the reservoir host of your Schistosoma japonicum are dogs, cats, carabaos, and other mammals. Yes, your Schistosoma japonicum causes oriental schistosomiasis or Katayamas disease. Okay, or Katayamas disease. The habitat is the superior mesenteric vein in the small intestines. The intermediate host are the intermediate host of your Schistosoma japonicum are snails. You have your Oncomelania hupensis quadrasi. This snail is found in the Philippines. Again, your Oncomelania hupensis quadrasi. This one is found in the Philippines. Your Oncomelania formosana is found in Taiwan. And then your Oncomelania nocophora is found in Japan. Okay. The infective stage is cercaria. The mode of transmission is skin penetration. And yes, the definitive host is man. Okay, and so as for the geographic distribution of this one, Schistosoma japonicum again is present in, I mean, yes. Okay, and so there are reported cases of Schistosoma japonicum in the Philippines. Okay. Of your Schistosoma japonicum is mature when laid or fully embryonated. Okay, and yes, this is the smallest among the blood flukes. And yes, they hatch in relatively clean water with sufficient oxygen. Again, we said earlier that the ova is fully embryonated and it possesses an operculum. Again, the ova has 70 to 100 micrometers by 50 to 65 micrometers in measurement. Okay, and so yes, okay, it is pale yellow, and again, it is non-operculated. Please note that near one end of the egg is a small lateral spine. Okay, and so near one end of the egg is a small lateral spine. Okay, and so as for the adult, Schistosoma japonicum, the male is shorter. You have 12 to 20 by 0.4 to 0.5 millimeters. It is shorter, but it is larger. Okay, and so yes, you have seven ovoidal testes that are arranged in a single row behind the acetabulum. And the union of ceca and testes is posterior to the middle half of the body. Okay, that is for your Schistosoma japonicum. The adult female is 15 to 30 millimeters in length. It is more delicate than males. It is smaller, longer, and slender. Okay, and so but then again, the male is larger. Okay, it has a pyramid ovary that is located at the center of the body. Okay, and so yes, that is for your Schistosoma japonicum female adult. Yes, this one is an illustration of your Schistosoma japonicum ova. Okay, they are large and more rounded comparing it with the eggs of your other species. They measure 70 to 100 micrometers in length and 55 to 64 micrometers in width. Okay, and so the spine or somewhat, yes, there is a knob. There is a small knob. Okay, and so for your Schistosoma japonicum ova. Again, this one is an illustration or a microscopic image of a Schistosoma japonicum ova. Again, they are large and rounded or more rounded, and they have this, okay, and so knob. Okay, and so they have this small lateral spine or small lateral knob. Okay, and so still, uh, pale yellow or brown yellow accordingly. And please note that the eggs are shed in the stool. Okay. Again, this one is another illustration. Okay, and so you have the small knob present here. It is more rounded still in this case, comparing it with the ova of your Schistosoma mansoni and Schistosoma hematobium. Adult worms of your Schistosoma japonicum resemble those of the adult of your Schistosoma hematobium and Schistosoma mansoni, but then they do not have integumentary tuberculations. And yes, your Schistosoma japonicum adults are found in the radices of the superior mesenteric vein draining, of course, the small intestines. As for the female worm, they may contain as many as 50 eggs at one time in the uterus. And yes, please note that they have a higher egg production. Okay, and so accordingly, 3,000 eggs per worm pair. Please note again, it's 3,000 eggs per worm pair per day. And they have a smaller egg size comparing it with your Schistosoma hematobium and Schistosoma mansoni. Okay, and so with that, again, so with that, since it has a high egg production, an infection with a few worm pairs can be very serious. Probably still because of the eggs that are small. The small eggs can be passed, or they can be found freely in the general circulation, and they can be filtered out in the liver, in the lungs, and even in the central nervous system. Okay, and so with that, they can elicit granulomatous formation. We learned earlier, you have Katayama disease, and then visceral or oriental schistosomiasis for Schistosoma japonicum. Please note that your Schistosoma japonicum, okay, and so this one is found in the Philippines, okay, and so the snail host that is present in the Philippines is your Oncomelania hupensis quadrasi. Hematobium, the common name of your Schistosoma hematobium is vesical blood fluke. Okay, vesical blood fluke or bladder fluke accordingly. Okay, and so yes, it causes urinary bilharziasis, urinary schistosomiasis, and Egyptian hematuria. Okay, and so urinary schistosomiasis is common in the Nile River Valley. Okay, and yes, aside from these diseases, carcinoma of the bladder is frequently noted in patients infected with Schistosoma hematobium. So probably this one is a risk factor. Okay, as for the habitat, veins of the urinary bladder, the uterine plexus near the urinary bladder. And then the intermediate host of your Schistosoma hematobium, you have your snail still, Biomphalaria. Okay, and so in Africa, and Bulimus, genus Bulimus snails in the Middle East. Okay, still the infective stage is Cercaria. The mode of transmission is skin penetration. Definitive host, man. Okay, and so for your Schistosoma hematobium. Note that humans are the only significant reservoir host of Schistosoma hematobium. Okay, and so the ova of your Schistosoma hematobium are fully embryonated without an operculum. Okay, and so fully embryonated without an operculum. And yes, okay, and so it measures 112 to 170 or 110 to 170 micrometers by 40 to 78 micrometers or 38 to 78 38 to 70 micrometers. Okay, and yes, the ova. Okay, and so the ova of your Schistosoma hematobium can escape from the body in the urine, since of course the habitat of the adult worms are the veins of the urinary bladder. Okay, please note that the adult worm contains small integumentary tuberculations. Okay, comparing it with Schistosoma japonicum adults, they do not have integumentary tuberculations. Okay, and so yes, the male is smaller than, I mean, the adult is small. The adult Schistosoma hematobium is smaller than those on Schistosoma mansoni males. Okay, and so cystosoma hematobium adults again reside in the vesical and pelvic plexuses of your venous circulation, still in the urinary bladder. And yes, the adult female, please note that, okay, and so they can contain 20 to 100 eggs in the uterus at one time. Okay, and so that is for your cystosoma hematobium. Yes, this one is an ova of your cystosoma hematobium. Okay, and so they are large, comparing it with your cystosoma japonicum ova. Okay, and so in cystosoma hematobium, you have 110 to 170 micrometers in length by 40 to 70 micrometers in width. And yes, it has a terminal spine, conspicuous terminal spine. Okay, and so conspicuous terminal spine, no? And yes, since we said earlier that the eggs are mature when laid, yes, the eggs contain immature miracidium when shed in the urine. Okay, and so for this one, so what we said earlier, your cystosoma hematobium ova can cause a hematuria. Okay, and so it can cause hematuria, can cause cystosoma hematuria because it has the possibility, it has the ability to lacerate the passageway. Okay, the terminal hematuria portion of the urine specimen may contain numerous eggs that are passed in the mucus and pus. Again, what we utilize here in the demonstration of your cystosoma hematobium egg is urine. Okay, please note that peak egg excretion occurs between the noon and 3 p.m. That is why the sample, the best time to collect a sample for the demonstration of your cystosoma hematobium ova is between the noon and the 3 p.m. Okay, and so samples collected during such, okay, and so again can be utilized to uh, or for the diagnosis of cystosoma hematobium infection. Okay, and so you may also use a 24-hour urine sample. Okay, and so no need for preservatives for this 24-hour urine sample to demonstrate your cystosoma hematobium ova. This is still your cystosoma hematobium ova. You have your conspicuous conspicuous terminal spine here. Okay, you have conspicuous terminal spine present. Your cystosoma mansoni. The common name is Manson's blood fluke. Okay, and so yes, please note it is important to remember that humans are the only important definitive host of cystosoma mansoni. Okay, they have your cystosoma mansoni. They have the smallest. They are the smallest adult blood fluke. Okay, and so please note it is the adult. When we say the smallest egg of a blood fluke, you have your cystosoma japonicum. Okay, this one causes intestinal bilharziasis and cystosomal dysentery. Okay, the habitat of your cystosoma mansoni is your inferior mesenteric vein of the colon and the rectum. As for the intermediate host, you have snails. Okay, and so of the genus Biumphallaria, Tropicorbis and Australorbis. Okay, you have Biumphallaria, Tropicorbis, and Australorbis accordingly. Okay, and so the infective stage still is the Cercaria. The mode of transmission is skin penetration. Okay. Yes, the ova of your Cystosoma mansoni. The ova of Cystosoma mansoni are light yellowish brown and elongate, and they possess a large lateral spine projecting from the side near one end of the egg. Okay, and so again, it has a large lateral spine projecting from the side near one end of the egg. Okay, yes, they are 112, okay, to 182 micrometers in length by 40 to 75 micrometers in width. And yes, they appear in feces, and the feces 30 to 40 days after the infection. And yes, just nice to know that the eggshell of your Schistosoma mansoni is acid fast when stained by a modified Ziehl-Neelsen technique. Okay, and so for okay, as for the male, you have 8 to 9 testes, and then you have a union of cica at the middle half of the body. And still, please note that you have tuberculations still in your Schistosoma mansoni. And then your female, please note that the female Schistosoma mansoni is the smallest schistosomes. Okay, the ovary is at the anterior to the middle half of the body. Okay, for your Schistosoma mansoni ova and adult. This one actually is a diagrammatic illustration of Schistosoma mansoni ova, showing you, of course, the prominent lateral spine. Okay, and so yes, prominent lateral spine. Please note again that the eggs appear in the feces 30 to 40 days after infection. Okay, and so yes, inside this one is of course a full or mature or fully embryonated miracidium, or if you're fully embryonated ova. Inside, of course, is a mature miracidium. Okay, a microscopic illustration of your Schistosoma mansoni ova. Still, you have the spine, or sorry, yes, the lateral spine. Okay, and so you have a more prominent here, lateral spine. Okay, and yes, please note again that they have this they measure 112 to 182 or 114 to 180 micrometers in length and 45 to 70 micrometers in width. Okay, and so the anterior end is tapered and slightly curved accordingly. And yes, it possesses a mature miracidium. Okay, and so you have the large terminal spine here. Okay, and so another one, you have the large terminal spine. Okay, sorry, the large lateral spine. Okay, it's the large lateral spine, sorry. Adult Schistosoma mansoni still in copula. Okay, and so yes, please note that your adult schistosomes again they have sex separate sexes. Okay, and so the female resides in the gynecophoral canal within the male, and yes, the male worms are larger, tuberculate, and they measure 6 to 12 millimeters in length, while your females are longer but more delicate or slender. Longer in a way, I mean, they are longer at a 7 to 17 millimeters in length. Okay, and so of course, this one is the female. Okay, and this one is the male. Okay, and so for this one, they reside in the gynecophoral canal of the male. Okay, and so for this one, okay, and so as for your adult Schistosoma mansoni, again, they reside in the venous plexuses of your colon and lower ileum. Okay, and so for this one. And so you have here your female, and yes, these ones, I mean, the adult male and female, they can reach lengths of 1.2 and 1.6 centimeters respectively. Okay, and so yes, and they have an oral and ventral suckers at the anterior end. They have an oral and ventral suckers at the anterior end, and the worm surface is covered or a tegument containing a syncytium of cells. Okay, and the male worm's body, which is flattened behind the ventral sucker, appears cylindrical as it curves to form the gynecophoral canal. Okay, and so for this one, the gynecophoral again is utilized to clasp the female worm. Okay, and so again, the female worm resides in the gynecophoral canal. Okay, the female again is longer and slender and cylindrical. Again, as what we said earlier, the male and female can reach lengths of 1.2 and 1.8 centimeters respectively. Okay, and so they have an oral and ventral sucker at the anterior end. Okay, the male worm's body, which is flattened. Okay, and so yes, flatten then curves to form the gynecophoral canal, which will clasp the female. And then the female is long and slender again. And then your female worm, while held in the gynecophoral canal, ingest 10 times more red blood cells than does the male worm. Okay, and so the tegument of the male worm contains prominent tuberculations, while for your tegument of your female does not contain tuberculations. Okay, and so for your cystosoma mansoni. The uterus of the female is short and usually contains only one egg at a time. And yes, after mating, the female leaves the male and migrates against the flow of blood to the small venules of the intestines. Okay, and so yes, initial egg production begins 4 to 7 weeks after infection. Okay, after infection. Schistosoma mansoni, again, mature females produce 100 to 300 eggs per day. Again, they produce 100 to 300 eggs per day. As for the life cycle of your Schistosoma mansoni, the eggs of your Schistosoma mansoni are immature when first laid and will take approximately 8 to 10 days to develop a mature miracidium. Okay, it takes 8 to 10 days to develop a mature miracidium. Many eggs are swept away and become lodged in the microvasculature of the liver and other organs. Please note again that they are non-operculate. They do not have they are unoperculated and they contain a lateral spine. Okay, and so deposition of eggs take place again intravascularly. Okay, and yes, many of the eggs laid are swept away and become lodged in the microvasculature of the liver and other organs. Okay, and please note that about half of the eggs swept away by the bloodstream become embedded in the mesenteric venule. And yes, the presence of eggs in the tissues will stimulate granuloma formation. Please note that earlier we said the disease or the signs and symptoms is not caused by the adult worm, but it is caused by the eggs. Okay, so for this one, process of maturation and tissue penetration takes about 8 to 10 days. And yes, process of maturation and tissue penetration takes about 8 to 10 days. And what will happen then? The eggs will work their way through the tissues into the lumen of the intestines to be released from the body in the feces. Okay, egg migration through the tissues is facilitated by the release of enzymes by the miracidium that is present inside the egg. Okay, and what will happen then? The enzymes will help digest the tissue to help facilitate in tissue or in egg migration and invasion. Okay, and so yes, the eggs make their way through the tissues into the lumen containing a mature miracidium that is released when the eggs are in contact with water. Yes, daughter sporocysts develop in the hepatopancreas of snail and produce cercaria. Of course, what they call this, inside the snail, larval development will take place, and then finally producing the cercaria. Okay, and so please note that you have your stimuli for the cercarial shading of your Schistosoma mansoni. You have here your bright, direct sunlight and water temperatures of 24 to 30 degrees Celsius. Okay, so probably with that, there is a higher transmission rates during summer. Okay, and yes, and yes, of course, upon skin penetration, the cercaria will attach to the skin of the definitive host via their ventral or oral suckers. Okay, and yes, if the cercaria do not find a suitable host, they usually die within 48 to 72 hours. Okay, and so they die within 48 to 72 hours if the cercaria do not find a suitable host. Katayama disease. Okay, your Katayama disease or Katayama fever, this one is not only seen in Schistosoma japonicum, but this one is also seen in Schistosoma mansoni. Okay, and so your acute schistosomiasis or Katayama disease is associated with heavy primary infections and initiation of egg production throughout areas of high transmission risk. Okay, the signs and symptoms of Katayama disease resemble those of serum sickness, but then characteristic ones include high fever, hepatosplenomegaly, lymphadenopathy, eosinophilia, and dysentery. Okay, the clinical signs and symptoms or this Katayama disease occurs a few weeks after primary infection with Schistosoma mansoni. Okay, and so for this one. As for the laboratory diagnosis, eggs may be found in the feces as early as 5 weeks after infection. And yes, please note that the ease of egg detection in the feces depends on the worm burden and duration of the infections. Please note that patients with low worm burden or low worm burden may have very few eggs in the feces or urine. Okay, and this one's infections may not be confirmed due to insensitive diagnostic methods. Okay, and so still, rectal biopsy specimen have been particularly useful in detecting eggs in the feces. Okay, and so yes, just again to give you a rundown of the Schistosoma mansoni eggs, they are yellowish brown and they measure 114 to 118 micrometers in length by 45 to 73 micrometers in width. And yes, they have a prominent lateral spine projecting near one end. Okay, and so for your Schistosoma mansoni. Yeah. Yes, that's it for your Schistosoma species or your blood flukes. And yes, this has been Gael saying, Tara, akyat tayo.